Hi everyone, it's the 27th of April and it is 25 past 11 at night. A very, very late one for me because I just cannot switch this brain off. Earlier today, Polly and I were having a chat over Telegram, voice messages, and she had an idea about our next happy hour on Sunday, of perhaps looking at emotional and physical exhaustion. And it was kind of strange because I'd been laying in my hammock thinking it would be really good to do one on sleep and nature and tuning into nature. And so the two really sort of kind of married together, which was good. And I explained to Polly that I'd been listening to Pema Chodron the other day saying that she'd done a year silence, and I was thinking I'd really like to do some time in silence, maybe 48 to 72 hours, but I can't go the full shebang. This Karina cannot keep her mouth shut for 72 hours, not at this moment right now anyway. But I thought what I could do is perhaps spend 72 hours not on my phone, not on the ladies groups, not on IAS, not listen to Sober Town, not on any social media, and just have a blackout and just have my phone on literally for emergency telephone calls and texts. And I'm going to do that. I've decided I'm going to do that tomorrow after our Wednesday night Zoom. I want to do that because our lovely Lilo has reached a year and I think he's sharing tomorrow on Zoom. So I'm going to be listening to that, and then after that everything is going off. And today I've started to sort of text and tell family and friends and tell people that this is my plan. I've put a post up on IAS. Tonight, laying in bed, oh my God, my anxiety is through the roof. Nearly verging on a panic attack. I was just doing my own mindfulness with myself to try and get to sleep and get in touch and connection. But my gosh, I was so panicky. And it's like, all right, I need to tune into this. And what is this about? And it's not the fear of missing out. I definitely don't have that. I don't have a fear of missing out on what's going on. I know that I need to probably have this time out and this rest for my physical and emotional well-being, to reduce my stress levels and to, just check in with me. And that's probably the fear, is that I'm going to have to sit with me much more, something I have got used to since sobriety. But hey, I'm not going to have the distraction, am I? I'm not going to have the distraction of posting, of blogging, of reading, of communicating, of listening, of talking. Because a lot of my day is spent talking in the ladies' groups. It's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I reach for my phone and say good morning. And the last thing at night, and I say good night. And I'm not going to have that support network, although I'll be alright. I'm not going to drink, and I know I'll be okay without that, but it's that habit, isn't it? I have formed a new habit. Also, I think there's that feeling that I'm letting others down, that I'm not going to be there for others, that people might need me. I had counselling many years ago, back in my 20s, and the counsellor said to me that I was like Atlas, like I carried the world on my shoulders. This Karina's ego has to learn that the world will not stop spinning if I'm not there. But oh my goodness. But when I was being medically retired from my nursing, I said to my mum, I'm going to miss my patients. And she said, no, you're going to miss being needed. And that is so true. There is a feeding in me that needs to be fed with being needed. So that's something I'm really going to have to be be looking at. And as I said earlier, it's not a fear of missing out on what's going on with people, but there is a fear of missing out on checking in with people and having my ego stroked and boosted. So that's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to see how that plays out over the next few days. I mean, I've got tomorrow still on the internet and everything, but already I'm panicking about it. So I'm hoping that, like with everything else, the fear and the anxiety is actually worse than how it's actually going to be. Because it's usually that anticipation, isn't it, leading up to things. And then when it actually happens, it's not quite so bad. But it would be interesting to see. I am going to use my phone to make voice recordings because I thought it might just be good to share with others eventually. Anyway, hopefully I've got all that I needed to get out for tonight. I've just made another sleepy bedtime tea and I'm going to try and go back to sleep, and I will tune back in tomorrow to see what's happening. So it's Wednesday the 28th. Oh, what a night. I had loads of anxiety last night and I was awake again at 6 o'clock. And but I got through. And this morning I'd been manically on my phone trying to catch up with everything and everybody. And then I've just sat with my cards, my Wisdom of the Oracle, which I haven't done for a while. I've sat and done my Serenity Prayer, I've lit a candle, I've done my cards, and the questions I was looking at was that I'm now sober. In my past I've stopped running, but my phone seems to have become my new addiction. And in little under 12 hours I'm going to be on at least 72 hour silence. In fact, I'm thinking I might just take it through till Sunday morning now, from tonight. And I was asking the cards, what do I need to find out during this silence? What do I need to know? Do I really do things for other people? Do I put all my social media stuff out there to help other people, like on YouTube and Instagram and I Am Sober? Is that to help other people, or is it for me to get the likes? Because we all like likes, don't we? We all like to be wanted and to be needed. And where is this sort of kind of taking me? And as I was doing this, I was thinking, why am I asking the cards this? This is like me. It's like I'm having to ask other people and other things questions. I can't just go with it and do it myself. Anyway, for those of you interested in the Oracle cards, my first one that I got was New Life in Reverse. And the protection message for this was, you must acknowledge your inexperience and gently allow yourself to be like the delicate new bud opening. It's okay to admit you may not know something. You're at the beginning of things and haven't yet hit your stride. Be immersed in the newness of it all and don't try to rush the learning process. New life has its own timetable for maturity. Be here now. Life loves you. And that kind of thought got me thinking, God, I'm nearly 9 months sober. And yet I am still so new to this because I'm 57 and I drank from the age quite heavily of 14, really. First drink at 12. So, yeah, this is baby steps. I am new to this. And then the next card I turned over was why. And do you know what? It's really weird because I don't... Those of you that know me know I don't like the word why. I think we can never find out the reason why, and we shouldn't ask why. It just is, and it, anyway. It means the essential meaning is motives, driving intention, the power of knowing the why. And the Oracle's message on this was, there is a great power in understanding your motives right now. The Oracle asks you to be very clear about why you're asking this question, looking for this answer, behaving in this way, and most important, making this choice. Knowing your why is the key to fulfillment when you are clear about it. Your intention will then be a magnet for miracles. Motives define the nature of your experience when you think about something, feel it, and then act on it. This invisible why is the life force energy within the seed, which brings it to life and holds the potential for growth. So that has made me review my why already, really. And in the relationship messages on that, it says, we don't always know why we engage in our relationships in the way we do, mostly because our feelings aren't always logical. Now is the time to recognise whether you are being triggered by someone else or if your behaviour is motivated by unresolved issue in the past. When you ask yourself, why am I feeling like this, and why did I say that, and spend some time in introspection, the answers may be surprising. Listen to the messages from your intuition. Know, from the knowing deep within you, what does it tell you about yourself and others in the end? Life is all about being loved. Miracles and a deep understanding of your needs and how to get them met are the buried treasures of the why. Uncover them by posing the most powerful question you can ask yourself and your partner today. Why? Knowing the motives behind your career and creative ventures is the ticket to your greatest success. It's time to ask yourself some probing questions. Are you driven by a desire to serve? Does your prosperity impact the greater good? When you envision your most prosperous life, are you guided by a sense of purpose or by a need to make money, acquire things, save for the future, or all of these? Or, as I said previously, to get likes and get ticks. No motives is bad or good, but having agendas hidden from yourself will lead to disappointment and possible failure. Be clear about why you want the things you do. If the motives are true, accept them. If they are not, change them so you can step into your extraordinary life. Now, I've been writing a book for over 20 years. I wrote Jack's diaries in 1999 when he was 2, and I wrote them again in 2019 as a comparison. And the reason behind that was trying to get the message out to other parents. It's okay to be single, it's okay to be a working mum, that we don't always get it right, and it is all okay. But I'm just going to question a bit about, because I need to do the final proofread and get that published. Because, you know, when you write to agents and that, they just knock you back. But okay, J.K. Rowling was hit back about 6 times. I bet they're kicking themselves now. So I need to ask myself the why, don't I, on that, of what that is about. I think it is for other people, and I'm sure other people will like it. But how would I cope with all the critics? Do I just turn off from them? We'll see. And the last card was the Loyal Heart. And this was reversed as well, so it's a protection message. Are you stubborn or overly tenacious about an idea? Or have you become so attached to something that you just don't know how to let it go? Could it be that it's become so much a part of you that you wouldn't know who you are without it? Now is the time to look at outdated beliefs, old ideas and misplaced loyalties. Betrayal is only a signal that it's time to prune away all who don't deserve your trust and have no place in your life. Be new, think new, and open your heart to new things. Let go of the old and all your attachments. Spirit has some awesome plans for you. Make some room. And yeah, I think that's something we all do in sobriety, isn't it? We start peeling away, a bit like the onion. Not only are we peeling away layers of ourselves, we're peeling away layers of our lives. And yeah, making great changes in all areas. So I would also ask myself why. Again, why did I need to turn to the Oracle? Is it for guidance? Is it because I know I won't be having you guys in my pocket? Yeah, and you on that last one as well. You have all become my way of being. You're so much part of my life now. How's it going to be without you? You're a very, very positive part. But I guess also then this is going to be a time to see, can I actually go this alone? And what the difficulty is going to be. I'll check in again a bit later, probably after my silence actually starts. So it's now Thursday, and it's just coming up to about a little under 20 hours since I turned off my phone. And as soon as I turned it off last night, really, I had some things going through my mind. One was that somebody had reached out to me on the chat in the Zoom last night and wanted to follow me and befriend me on the I Am Sabre app. And I did give her my details, but I'm not sure if she saw it. And then part of me wanted to rush back in and make sure, but I stuck with it, kept my phone off. And I am reading at the moment The Unexpected Joy of Being Ordinary by Catherine Gray. And funnily enough, the chapter I started on last night was actually about phones and the expectation that we are all at the end of our phones all the time. We have to just be there for everybody. And I'm like, yeah, what is that all about? And then I wanted to pick up my phone to then order the book for somebody that I know. And I couldn't. So I had to then start writing a note of things that I need to start doing when my phone comes back on. And I did learn about to turn down the double ticking on WhatsApp that you can turn off to see when people have read the messages, so that they're not wondering why you haven't kind of followed up. Anyway, this morning we were up bright and early. I didn't have my sun alarm clock is set for 9 o'clock every morning, but I'm invariably up before that actually goes off. So what this does is half an hour before your alarm is set by is it starts to do a slow sunrise to gradually wake you up for the day. And because I didn't have my phone to set a different alarm, I had to set that for 6 o'clock this morning, because we were off to go and get Jack from work, 'cause he's done an extra night shift and needed a lift. So at 5:35 the first sun bit went on and I was awake from them, and in between the time of getting up I wanted to text Jack to say we were on the way to get him. I needed to get his directions, which I didn't, because Andy had his phone and he could do all that, but again, a reliance on a phone to do the stuff that we would have done 30 years ago without a phone. But what I did have to do is I did have to go to my phone and take my case off of it, because all of my debit cards are in there. Everything that I need is with my phone, so I took those out. And on the 40 minutes drive, as we were driving, I counted the amount of times that I would have gone to my phone, and it was 15 times in 40 minutes, which is just a little under, or a little over, should I say, 2.5 minutes. Every 2.5 minutes on average I was checking for my phone. I couldn't work out specifically because I don't have my calculator, because my calculator is on my phone. And I realised that we actually had a great conversation, that actually all these times I went to check my phone was stimulated by conversation we'd had or were having, and that usually I would pick up my phone to find out more and then switch off from the conversation I was really having in real time. I wanted to go onto Google to look at everything from guitars, how easy is it to learn to play a guitar box, the cheap or the best guitar to learn to play on, to tree houses, to everything else that we've been discussing. I wanted to go on there for a text. I wanted to go and check on the maps. I wanted to go and do my daily pledge. I needed the calculator, as I just said. I wanted to check the date. I wanted to know what the time was, and I wanted to check in with the community. And I also wanted to then reach for my phone and write down in my notes on my phone all the stuff that was going through my head and that I needed to remember. And then I started ruminating about all the things that I had to remember to then write down when I could get a pen and paper or to my phone or to somewhere to record it, to do something. And I realised that actually not only does phones knock out our memories with the microwaves or whatever it is that they send out, but actually it's wrecking our memory, because we don't have to remember stuff anymore. We just write it all down and then we can forget about it. Anyway, we collected Jack, and on the way back we popped into the Co-op for some a breakfast shop. And I just all things and thumbs on my phone, which I haven't used for a day. I'm just using my phone to record. We went for a breakfast shop, and whilst we were in there, Andy said, "Did I need any more shopping?" Don't know, because my shopping list is on my notes on my phone. And of course, when we got home, I put the dishwasher on. We needed salt and things like that, but I'd completely forgotten, because it's all recorded on my phone and I can forget about it. I was desperate to get back and to talk on my phone and say everything before I forgot it, but I decided to wait until this evening and write it down and just take some notes, really. Andy cooked breakfast and he said breakfast on the table. I looked for my phone to take a photo. What is this excessive need to share? What is it that we need to take photographs of everything and not live in the moment? And why am I having to worry and trying to remember everything that I haven't shared, that I want to share? And why am I recording it all in writing and on here? Is it for others? Is it for me? Or is it just because I'm trying to fit in with the norm of what we all do? Because we have to be there. We have to be available all the time. But why? What is that actually all about. I'm not quite sure. I also started to wonder why I'd chosen to do a 72-hour detox from my phone, and I thought, it's because it's 72 hours really off of alcohol too, maybe. I don't know, just didn't know where that came from. Anyway, this afternoon I was doing crosswords and things, and sometimes if I not sure of a clue, I'll use Google on my phone or Safari to look up to see, and to actually learn from that. I do tend to learn from that, about places and that in the world. I went to reach my phone many times to do buying on Amazon, so I reckon I've saved about £200 a day by not looking at my phone, not getting on there and impulse buying. Andy's phone drove me nuts. It kept pinging really loudly to the point that I had to say to him, can you please turn that off? Because, it's driving me nuts. And I realised that actually I don't have a lot of notifications on my phone, and very often I have my phone on silent, much to the disdain of other people who ring me repetitively, time after time after time. And then when I've seen that I've missed calls, I apologise and say, I'm really sorry about having my phone on silent. Why am I apologising for having my phone on silent? It's again because we're expected to be there. I had quite mixed responses actually when I told people that I was going on this downtime. Some of them were, oh, are you okay? Others were, oh, is it because you're going to do like spiritual stuff, spiritual cleanse? Others are like, good for you. And some people were actually sort of a bit jealous or envious of I wish I could do that, but I can't. And then I started to think, why can't you? Why do we feel that we cannot take our phones off? I mean, I have safety netted because, of my parents and of my son, my grandson, but they do have Andy's number. So if there is an emergency, people can call that. Anyway, so from this morning, what I decided was that I'm definitely going to have a notepad and a pen with me all the time. And I'm going to put all my cards back in my purse so that I don't have to literally be with my phone. I'm not one very often reads or listens to the news, actually, but, you go pick up your phone and there's news feeds there, isn't there? But Andy read some stuff out to me, which I didn't really need to know, want to know, but it was something about a man who's got 100,000 likes on Instagram because he's parked over 6 years in a different bay in the Sainsbury's car park. He's been in every single one of them. Why do I need to know that? He told me that Anne Margaret is 80 today. I presume he means Princess Anne, but I didn't ask any questions because actually I'm trying to have a blackout from everything. I don't want to be knowing all these things. I've been I've had a nice day actually because after Zoff and had to come over with Arthur to pick up Jack, so I had some really nice quality time with them and spending time with them. And one of the things I was doing, when I got back, I wanted to write my notes in a journal, and I picked up an old journal and I read back on it. And it was quite interesting, the things that I saw. And one of the first things was that I'd written the 28th of December 2018. And I'd written, I need to get Ruby Wax's book, How to Be Human. And it said these were two parts that I'd seen in a magazine. And these two of these bits were, we communicate with virtual families sometimes more than our real life ones. We're so intrigued by other people's social media feeds, we stop noticing the things happening under our noses. And the next paragraph was, above all, focus on the people you care about who are right in front of you and do all you can to connect with them in meaningful ways. And I'd written, amen to that. And I was thinking, what is the universe telling me here? Because I've now gone on this journey for 72 hours. I've picked up an old journal, and right at the front of that is this Ruby Wax quote about communication and, spending this much time on my phone. And in fact, Sophie did say to me, Karina, it's great since you've been sober, but actually I never used to notice your phone being permanent in your hand before. But since you've been doing this, it is, you're always on your phone. And I'm like, wow, that is crazy. Also, what I learned from my journal was that actually on the 4th of February 2019, I stopped drinking because I'd started listening to all Audible's Alcohol Lied to Me. Now, I actually didn't think that was until middle of 2020, but actually it was February 2019 I started listening to that. But obviously I still carried on drinking. But yes, I'd also put in there. I'd put in about the drinking. And then as I looked on further, on the 14th of May, I'd written something down as well. I'd written about today's lessons, and it was, I need to be more comfortable in my environment. I need to feel free to be me and not apologise. I need to be loved, accepted, wanted and cherished. I need to go on an around the world cruise. So that was a reflection from them. That was the 14th of 5th, 20, actually. Yeah, so sorry, a bit backwards and forwards here. And then on the 3rd of January 2020 was a night that I got very drunk and shaved all my hair off again. And a few weeks later, me and my husband split up. That was quite interesting, actually, looking at all these things that I wrote. And then I'd written something last year. It's probably in July 2020. And obviously, Andy and I had been talking at that time about getting a caravan or about getting a RV to go travelling in. And we were in the middle of lockdown here as well, and he decided that he was going to get a caravan. And I was obviously very, very drunk at this time, because I actually had got in my diary quite stroppy with him, completely out of the blue, saying as much as we love one another, we are not right together, just because he'd made a decision to buy something different from what we discussed. And I was completely smashed at that time. And I wrote a song, it looks like. But do you know what? I'm going to leave that for another day. And I found that I've gone from this morning of wanted to get my phone and get on my phone and talk to you all and say all these things, to then this evening, I was going to get on my phone and get it over and done with, and then put my phone away for the night. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop rambling for today, and I will record some more tomorrow. Farewell. Friday evening, and nearly 48 hours without my phone. Last night when I just turned it on to do my voice recording, I had a text and a news feed come up, and I ignored them both. But then you worry and worry and worry. But I've kind of cleared them out of my head. I found out that Anne Margaret isn't Princess Anne. She's actually a sex symbol from the 60s, because we did have a conversation about that. Even though I didn't want to know what was going on, I wanted a conversation with Andy. And oh my goodness, as I'm sitting here talking on my phone, I'm trying not to look at my phone, because there is just a news feed after notification coming up on the top of my phone. Things I couldn't do yesterday was I couldn't spend money on the internet. That was good. I couldn't pay a cheque into my bank, but I can go to a bank and do that, or I can do it on Sunday. I couldn't do calculations exactly. I got a beautiful embroidered picture from my friend Kim, and for my late birthday present, and I couldn't text her to say thank you. But again, I've just written it down in my notebook. It's on the list. I couldn't record notes, but I'm using pen and paper, which is great. And I couldn't pledge, and I couldn't reset for junk food. Yes, I got junk food yesterday. Was that because I couldn't have my phone? I don't think so. I think it's because Andy actually bought cigarettes, and I realised, oh my gosh, I'm such a child. I'm just like, well, if you're going to do it, I'm going to do it as well. Which is just ridiculous. So yeah, that's something I've learnt. That's something I need to take a look at. Obviously, I couldn't search on Safari or Google, and I couldn't pre-order a takeaway. I'll look at what was at the Indian takeaway in town and ask Andy to go and pick it up, which meant I had to go with him. And you know what? If I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have had a chat in the shops with the lovely owner of the Indian restaurant, of James, who came in to pick up his Indian, and found out about him and his wife, and discovered that both me and him were born in the same hospital in Ilford, King George's Hospital and Seven Kings in London. I didn't go as far to ask him when he was born. Didn't want to be rude. But yeah, it was great. If I'd have had my phone with me, I would have been oblivious. Would have just been sat on my phone, oblivious to everything else going on around me. We also picked up some brochures when we were in the shop, all about Harleston, and yesterday evening we sat reading about them. And it was great because it actually spurred conversation. I found out about post buses, that these buses in rural places, especially Scotland and Wales, back in the 60s, 70s and 80s, when they used to take the post in and out of the villages, they added seats to cars and vans and things to take people in and out of towns. And then it reminded us that we used to have a first and second post. We'd forgotten all about that. But yeah, we used to have the early post and the late post back in the 70s and 80s. And we discussed also that TV wasn't always on. There was no, you used to have the old transmission trade card come up. And it was set times that TV was on. And there was only 3 channels. And I think probably originally just the BBC, then ITV. And, and then the excitement. I remember the excitement around when Channel 4 came on. So yeah, really good sort of conversations and really taking in and joining in with my environment, which I wouldn't usually do. Last night I read for a couple of hours in bed before I went to sleep, and I slept straight away. Usually I need my phone to listen to something to distract my monkey mind that goes on and yabba 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 yabba. I didn't. I just fell into a peaceful sleep. I did awake around 5 and 6 o'clock. Now, usually I probably would have got up at those times because I'd want to go on my phone. And I did have that, shall I? But obviously, because I couldn't go on my phone, I just went back to sleep. And I woke up at 7:30 this morning, and I did want my phone. I did want my phone to record stuff. I wanted to get up and talk into my phone this morning. So instead, it was that burning a desire that I had to get up and take some notes on my pen and paper. So I seem to want things first thing in the morning, and then the desire for the phone wanes during the day. And in actual fact, I wanted to just get on and get this done now. I've just had tea, so I wanted to get on my phone, record it so I can switch it off. And it's almost like it's a pain. I don't actually want it in my life now as the day goes on. So I've decided tomorrow that I'm not going to take any notes at all. So that's going to be the last full day of the blackout. I'm not going to take any notes. I'm not going to be reporting everything. And Andy is going home tomorrow as well. So I'm going to have silence. I'm going to do complete silence after he's gone. And I'm going to sort of sit and think about, what is this need to share everything? What is this fear of missing something? Not that I'm missing out on other people, but I'm missing telling people something. Oh my gosh. And there's also that fear of what if somebody needs me? What if they need to get hold of me? And so I started thinking about what happened to the old assuming that everything is okay unless we hear otherwise. It's no wonder we're constantly anxious all the time nowadays in the states of dread. It's like we're almost expecting. It's like we have to have our phones with us in case something happens because we have to know about it. So I've decided that when my phone does go back on Sunday morning, I'm only going to use my phone 2 hours a day. Whether I'll have it on still for phone calls and texts and include those in the 2 hours a day, I'm not sure yet. But yeah. So, but it seems that, I had a great day. I went inside my shed out. I couldn't have the radio on or any music on my phone. So I got my old record players out and played my old records, which was great. Some real oldies, And yeah, I think that's about it today, really, other than to say what I've discovered is that your phone has everything on it, so you can't live without it. It's like everything is put on it, so it is the has-to-have gadget. And in amongst all that, we are overloaded with everything being fired at us. I'm now going to look at my phone to turn off the record and try not to see anything. And I'll speak again tomorrow night. Farewell for now. So here it is, Saturday. I'm just about 4 hours or 3.5 hours off of doing my 72 hours without my phone, in inverted commas. I went to reflect just a bit. I wrote some notes last night. I tried very hard not to write notes today on some of the things I'd done yesterday that I hadn't covered in yesterday's chat. And one of the things I did when I went into the garage yesterday to sort of my shed to sort that out was I couldn't have my phone, so I couldn't have a radio, so I actually played my records. I dug out my record player and reminisced with some old records, which was fantastic. I also found a box where oil had spilt, and there was lots of other bottles in there that were covered like car cleaner and that, which were covered in all the oil. And I remember Craig Beck saying about alcohol breaks down oil, and that's why when we drink it, it's like napalm, and we need to then have our fish oils to try and rebuild it up because the alcohol's destroyed it all. So I got my rubbing alcohol and I put it on a cloth, and it was true. The oil just completely broke down and wiped away. And at one point I wanted to film it and share it. I'm like, do I really need to? Again, I want to share everything all the time. Not sure why. I'm just, all this wanting to share all the time means I miss out on other stuff and on the here and now. Yesterday evening, Andy did actually put the TV on. I haven't had the TV on at all, because somebody had said to me when I said about doing this no phone thing, and they said, is it for spiritual cleansing? And I'd said yes, and they said, boy, you best not to have TV, I hope you're not doing TV and stuff too. But Andy did have the TV on, and I was reading my book, and it was really hard to focus. Even though I did it, I managed to concentrate mostly on my book, but it was hard because everything distracts us from real life. That's what I reflected on, that TV, books, everything that we do distracts us from the here and now. Even non-fiction books, because actually that's just that person's story. It's only their take on things. It's not the truth. It's just what their view is. And I get distracted enough. I mean, yesterday I did a wash and I spun it, and then I tumble dried it, and then after all of that, and I folded it all, and then I found the washing liquid on the side in the pot still that I hadn't even put in. And one of the really mad, wacky things that I found out yesterday as well, and this is going to sound completely crazy, is that I've been telling everyone that I'm 57 on the podcast and everything, and I truly thought I was 57. And last night, in all the stillness and conversations with Andy, I realised we were actually 56. So in doing this 3 days of silence, I have literally gained a year. I'm a year younger than when I started. I mean, how crazy is that? Sleeping, I didn't sleep very well last night at all. Lots of mad, crazy dreams. Can't remember any of them now. But I was awake at 4, and after about half an hour of trying to tune in to Andy's snoring, I just got up at 4:30. Again, I wanted to reach for my phone. It's always first thing in the morning I want to reach for my phone. But I didn't. And some of the things I've reflected on today is that I want to be all things to all people and not to myself. And that's not the best thing, is it? Because I'm missing out on me. I want to be there for everyone else. And we went for a bike ride this morning just to get breakfast, and it was great, but I didn't take my phone. But of course Andy had his, so that was okay. And this afternoon I wanted to do silence when Andy went home, but as soon as he went, I wanted to watch some TV. I wanted to watch a movie. And I remembered that I'd been told by someone that actually I shouldn't be doing that. And I decided, well, who makes up the rules? If I want to watch some TV, then that's what I should do. But in between deciding to do that and doing that, I actually decided to relook at the song, the drunken song that I wrote last year, when I spat my dummy out. And, I've written it and kind of made it into a song, and I just let it just sit there. And then I decided to do some ironing. I bought an iron last June. I've never had it out. If it doesn't need ironing, I buy most clothes that don't need ironing. If they do, I shake them. If they need ironing, they just stay in the cupboard. I did some ironing, and while I was ironing, I was also watching a movie, and I was questioning, do I actually have something to say? There's books and that I want to read. There's so much stuff in my head, so much that's written down, half started. But I've been stopped by people along the way, thinking people won't be interested. But the thing is, I do actually have something to say. Whether people are interested or not is neither here nor there. I have something to say, and I can say that, and I can put it down on paper. So I'm going to crack on with books. I'm going to spend a lot less time on my phone. I'm going to crack on with my books. I'm also going to send my song to Billy Lockett. If you don't know who Billy Lockett is, check him out. He's awesome. Saw him a couple of years ago as a backing singer. As a warm-up artist. Oh, my God. That was for Jeff Lynne's ELO, and he was amazing. So check out Billy Lockett. He probably won't want my song, but do you know what? I've written it, so I'm going to send it to him anyway. And I'm going to write my books. This afternoon I had to put my phone on whilst I was watching the movie because I don't have any internet here, so I have to have my phone to connect up to the internet. And because I have to hotspot off of it. And very often when I'm trying to watch TV, it gets knocked out because of all the messages that come in. And it's like, do you know what I've decided phones are like? It's like having uninvited guests and visitors in your home. It's like they're not even knocking at the door. They're just letting themselves in. And just think of how many uninvited guests are letting themselves in day after day after day, minute after minute, second after second. Again, I'm talking to my phone. I'm not looking at it. I'm going to turn my phone off now, but I am really anxious about that because I'm here on my own. And previously, Andy was here, so if anybody really needed me in an emergency, they could contact him and he would let me know. He's not here to tell me now. What if somebody needs me? What if something terrible happens to somebody and I'm not there? I'm not contactable? What if I need somebody? I will wear my Apple Watch in case I have a fall. I don't really want to, but I'm going to. But again, it comes back to that, doesn't it, of whatever happened to assuming everything is okay unless we're told otherwise. And I'm in a state of anxiety about turning off my phone and not being contacted while I'm here on my own and turning my phone on again tomorrow morning. I'm going to do more than 72 hours. I should have been, I could go back on tonight at about sort of 8:30, 9 o'clock. I could turn my phone back on. But for months and months and months, I've been not wanting to be on my phone after 8 p.m. at night. It's part of my wind down. It's part of my getting ready for bed routine, which I've been really awful at doing. So that's definitely starting from now. So my phone is not going back on till tomorrow morning. And then I review what it's going to go on for. I think I'm going to stick to 2 hours a day on my phone. I'm going to turn all my notifications off. I'm really only going to stay on Instagram and Facebook I'm not going to post anything. I'm just going to stay on there for messages and to keep up with what's happening in baby Arthur's life. I'm coming off of Twitter. And I think eventually I will come off of all social media apart from I'm Sober. And I will be going back on there tomorrow morning to pledge. And tomorrow also I'll be on there to Zoom to do the happy hour with our Polly about emotional and physical exhaustion and sleep. And I'm actually quite rested right now, but I am anxious. I'm anxious that somebody might need me and I'm not going to be there for them until my phone goes back on tomorrow morning. So it'd be interesting to see what time I wake up tomorrow. Anyway, this has been good. I think it's something everyone should do. And hopefully we can all start to look at reducing some of our phone contact and start living in the here and now. Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday morning and my phone has been back on since 7 a.m. I did turn it on at 6:30 last night because I just needed to check on Jack's tracker that he'd got to work okay and hadn't had a terrible car crash. Oh my word, what is it all about? I was to put it on briefly at 9 o'clock just to say goodnight to everyone, to Andy and to Jack and to Zoff. And at 7 o'clock this morning I woke up and straight away I thought I'll put my phone on just to say good morning to them because I wanted to say good morning. An hour later I put my phone down. But in that time I did do some clearing up. I had 97 emails and I deleted every one of them without even opening them. I didn't need to. I had 5 missed calls from these stupid scam people. I had one voice message about my internet not being paid. Well, I just deleted that. I don't have any internet here. I don't have a phone line here. I deleted 15 apps off of my phone, including Twitter. I've also taken myself out of 3 of the groups. I'm going to keep myself in 2 main groups and any new coming groups, and then gradually come out of them as they're established for the ladies groups. I've been on to Pledge, and I've also deleted the news app. I need to delete all my notifications, and my phone is always on silent anyway. I'm going to turn all the ticks off my notifications so people can't see when I've read their messages. And I am going to stop following up any unanswered messages with, hello, are you okay? Everything all right? I'm just going to assume it is okay, unless I hear differently. I am going to restrict myself to my phone for 2 hours a day. I've already done an hour. I have spent sort of time listening to all these recordings and doing this message, but I kind of see that perhaps that's not phone. Perhaps that's just work type stuff. I'm not sure. I'll see. Perhaps I'm making excuses. I'm going to leave it on though. I'm going to leave it on for phone calls and for texts. Somebody did actually pass away whilst I was on my silent, so I only found out about that today. But it's nothing I could have done anything about. It wasn't anybody that is in my immediate family. It's very sad news, but me hearing about it a couple of days later didn't really make any great odds. Well, not to me anyway. Whether that's selfish or not, I don't know, but I'm sure it didn't to the person or the family, because it's sort of part of my ex sort of husband's family. But as sad as it is, I wasn't actually needed. It was just for information. So yes, I am going to now get on with my day. I'm going to go over and see my parents. I usually listen to my phone and podcasts and that on the way. I'm not. I'm actually going to just concentrate on my driving, which would probably be safer for everybody, and not fiddle with my phone. And then I'm going to come back and do the podcast with our Polly. It has been a great experience. I have learned an awful lot about me and my neediness to be needed, my need to share. But I've also learned that I do have a voice, and it's okay to be me. And I'm happy with that. So on that note, I hope you're happy with you too. We're on the right journey. Let's keep this going. Lots of love to you all.